Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to cover how to push your code into GitHub after you develop your scripts. So I didn't cover it in end-to-end flow because uh, it's one-time activity. You need to create the GitHub repository, and then later onwards you can push your code into GitHub. So that's the reason I haven't covered it in a single flow. But today I'm going to cover how you will push your code once your script is generated in a single go, as well as today I'll try to create a Jenkins pipeline. Along with that, we can execute the scripts from your Jenkins as well. Okay. So coming back to our flow. So last time we have developed the scripts, and this is the project we have developed. So if you haven't gone through my previous video, please go through my previous video. Earlier, I have created a video based on what are LLMs, MCP, and GitHub. And post that, I have created another video which is related to end-to-end playwright automation using AI. Now, it's an extension to that. So in this, we are going to cover GitHub as well as Jenkins pipeline. So I have created this framework now. I have this project. So my next task is to push this code into my GitHub. Okay. So to push these changes into GitHub using the MCP, I need to add an MCP, which is GitHub MCP server into my mcp.json. So let me go to Google and search for GitHub MCP server. So from the official MCP server, I'll go to readme.md, and from here you can see. So this is your GitHub server. I'm simply copying it and into here. And servers ending here. So I can do comma and I can add a new server, that is GitHub. So for this GitHub server, I need to add the bearer token, that is the PAT, personal access token. So this you need to generate from GitHub. I'm going to show how to generate. You simply go to GitHub and go to click on profile icon and go to settings. And from settings, you can go to developer options. It's developer setting. You can see personal access token. So here you can generate a classic token. And okay. So when you're going to I'm going to keep MCP server token. When you're going to create it, will ask for select scope. So since my MCP server needs to create a repository, I need to create give the create access, that is repo related access. So you can see access to commit, deployment, public repository, read and write, security events, everything I'm giving, and the workflows also I'm updating. Okay, and I'm going to generate a token. So here is my token. So you simply copy it, come here and paste it. So now your GitHub MCP server is added and you can see the start icon. Okay. So let me try to run it. Okay. So let me check if I'm able to access the GitHub or not. I list the repos available in my GitHub. Okay. So here, for testing purpose, I created one simple repo. Okay, you can see test kit agent. So here, if you go, okay, let me, okay. Now you can see it's trying to connect with the MCP server. The reason why it asks me is because I have a couple of GitHub user IDs. Maybe because of that, it might got confused. But if you have any single, it will directly fetch. Otherwise, it's fine. We just provided the name. It's giving you the details. So I can see you have one repository on GitHub, and this is the ID. Okay. So now it's a one-time activity. I wanted to create a repository. So here also you can do it manually, but I just wanted to use my MCP server to do that for me. So I'm simply going to ask create a repository for the current framework and commit all the code into the repo. Now your this MCP server is going to create a repository, and it's going to create a repository and it will push all my changes into that repository. So the good thing is, even if you're not comfortable with the, you know, Git commands also, your MCP and the GitHub Copilot will help you to do that. Okay. Even sometimes you face couple of errors when you're doing some activity. So this GitHub Copilot will try to analyze the failure and identify the fix, and it will push it. I'm trying to copy it and paste it somewhere for my paste somewhere. It can be secure. Okay. So what it's trying to do, it's trying to remove this authentication token or PAT personal access token for the security things. I'll try to skip this because let it be. Let's see. Okay. So here also it's trying to edit this by removing this. I don't want it to remove it. I'm keeping it because it's trying to remove because it has some sensitive information. So whenever you are doing Git commits and all those things, it will try to highlight the sensitive information should not be shared directly to the GitHub. That will create problem. So that's the reason. But now it's trying to push it into main branch. Let's do it. References. Okay. Okay. Now I got the final result. So perfect repost is created and all code pushed successfully. Now if you go to GitHub and if you go to your refresh your homepage, you can see a new repository is created, Playwright test agent. And if you go inside here, which you can see 1 minute ago, 2 minutes ago, it created this repository. It pushed all the changes. But if you see the .vs code is not available, that means it excluded that part because it caused security violations. So that's the reason. And it also generated the git ignore file for me. You can see it ignored the .vs code mcp.json because in that I have this error token. So if you want, you can edit your git ignore file and you can push. But so by using the GitHub MCP itself, I created the repo and committed all my code. So this is how you can create. And coming to the next step, as soon as I completed my test case flow, I wanted to uh, create a branch over here. Okay. And I wanted to push all those changes into my branch, new branch, and raise a PR so that whenever you update your user story and provide it in the user story, here the MD file. So it will automatically generate the test cases, execute them. All the code will be pushed into a new branch with the user story name as a branch name, and it will create a PR to your main branch. So your job is to review the report, review the code, and merge the PR so that code will be merged into main branch. So that's what we are going to focus on. Okay, coming back to QE end-to-end steps, I think you can see we have provided around six steps, I think. Yeah. So 6 steps. In these 6 steps, we have completed everything. Okay. So the next step, what I'm trying to do is I'm going to add a seventh step over here. In the seventh step, I'm going to add the git commit. Okay, I have already GitHub repo created. So now I simply add the seventh step. As soon as it is created and executed, it's time to put those changes into the GitHub. Mm. Okay, so instead of updating directly here, I'm trying going to create a new MD file. Okay, let me create one new MD file I'll give the name as GitHub commit. Okay, so in this GitHub commit, I'm going to add step one. Okay, so step one will be creating branch. Okay, so in this branch, I'm going to uh, use GitHub MCP server to create a new branch from main with name as the current low user story file name. Okay, so whatever the user story file name you are going to give here, okay, for example, source demo card. So the same name will be used to create the branch. Okay, next, I'm going to create a step two. Okay, so step two will be okay. So step one will be creating the branch. Step two will be use the GitHub MCP server to commit and push all the new changes into the branch. Okay, I'm trying to push all the changes, whatever it is developed within this flow, into the branch. And then next, I'm going to create a step three, verify the commit. Okay. Now next, I wanted to make sure whether the branch is created successfully and committed the code. So I'm just trying to verify use GitHub Copilot to verify the new branch is created correctly and push and changes committed into the batch. Okay. And the final step will be my raising the PR. Okay. Step four will be raise the PR. Okay. Or else I can request. Now using the GitHub Copilot, sorry, GitHub MCP server, I'm going to create a new PR from the newly created branch to main branch. Okay, so these are the four steps, and I am going to give instruction to agent to execute the below four steps in sequential order. Okay. Now it will be executed in one by one. One is creating the branch with the same name of the feature user story file name, and next it's going to commit the code, verify the commit, then it's going to raise the PR. Okay, so now I'm going to save this and add this step into QA E2E step 7. So I'm going to do a few modifications. So the total steps will be 7. Okay, so step one here it should be a 7-step flow, and I'm going to add a 7-step here. Step number 7 I'm going to add here. Okay, so here I'll simply write read the GitHub commit.md file and execute the prompts from file. So now it's going to execute the prompts available in this file. So this will execute and it will get done. And I'll also mention expected output. Expected output should be created next code committed and push to new branch, and then it's going to raise the PR. Okay, so these are the outputs I'm expected. So coming to the workflow here, I'm going to add an extra step, that is step number 7. Okay, so step number 7 should be commit. Okay, so here it's going to okay. So I have mentioned the steps. So now what I'll do is I'll try to create a user story with some acceptance criteria within the same application. Here I have covered cart review and checkout. Here I'm trying to add a new acceptance criteria within the same flow, and I'm trying to generate the new test cases within the same framework. And this time, since I added the step 7, it's going to push my changes into GitHub by creating a new branch and raise the PR for me. So simply I'm giving the user story as input, and I'm going to get the PR directly in the GitHub as an output. That's the way. Okay. So here I created one source demo order. So in this, I copy pasted the same data from cart, and I simply added one acceptance criteria related to order completion. In the same application, I'm just adding a new acceptance criteria related to order. So here we have cart and checkout flow. And here I'm going to add some order related test cases. And the next thing what I'm trying to do is in the QAET, I'm just going to update the names. So wherever I have the source card, I'm going to replace it with order. Okay. So I'll simply try to check. If the number is being used. Fine. Okay. So now it's going to go ahead with the next flow. I'll simply go to my QA and I'm going to execute. Okay. Now you can see it created a test case ts for spec.ts, and it's asking, okay, I'm allowing it. So these are the test cases it generated for the order spec. Just press allow. It's going ahead. Now it's performing the execution. So it's clearly showing that test cases generated for order specs. So in this, it's going to cover logs in, add item, and whatever the steps it requires. So it's generated. Now you can expect it. Yeah. Okay. I don't see the step 7 execution. So I just ask again. I the step 7 is executed. Can you please perform the step 7? So in ideal case, it should pick the step 7 also, like step 1, 2, 3, 4. You might be seen the earlier workflow. So here I just added the step 7. So in the step 7, what we did is we are trying to commit our changes by creating a new branch. So that's what it's going to do. Okay, so you might got a couple of errors that might be because of the same, I think, mcp.json. We have the what we call the PAT, which is not allowed to push into GitHub, but that's fine. It's going to handle and take care of it. So it's going to remove the task, especially mcp.json, and go ahead. So here the good thing is you don't need to be very good with Git also. You just need to know the basics because if something went wrong, you should be in a state to understand what's going on. With zero knowledge, you cannot proceed, but you should have at least basics, not only Git, anything. If you are going to use Playwright, you should have some basic knowledge on Playwright, TypeScript basic knowledge. That is mandatory. Okay. So now I can see step 7 completed. It created a branch with the same name, the user story name that is source demo order, committed changes with messages, add source order flow, and updated the workflow, pushed into remote branch, verified the branch existed and it's tracked. I'm going to verify whether it is updated correctly or not. So I'm going to the GitHub and here I can see a minute ago some code is pushed. I can see source demo order branch is being created. Okay, and the code. Okay, so you can see the peer is so the code is pushed into this code and you can never allowed to raise a peer. Simply click on it and create a pull request. Then you can see the file changes. So as part of this order spec, you can see the order spec user story is being added with the acceptance criteria, whatever we have added, and a spec file which is created, which contains the test cases related to the order. And we have some git commit ID. So this is what I have updated just now to cover the GitHub flow. And these are the changes I have done. So you simply need to review this code. If everything is good, you are good to go ahead. If anything changes needs to be done, you can do the changes and you simply click on able to watch. So the job is to review the code. Okay. So now the code is merged. You can see it's merged. And if you go to your main branch and you can able to see the specs. So the test source demo. And you can see order spec.ts. So which is 5 minutes ago. So this is how the framework works. You simply need to use your AI to develop the framework, develop the test cases, execute them, and push it to GitHub. So the next important thing is execution of these test cases over a Jenkins. So today I'm going to cover the Jenkins session as well, but I'm not going to host the Jenkins server directly on the cloud as most of you guys won't have a host to, you know, a host for the server in the cloud. So what I can do is I can try to generate a local server, Jenkins server, and build the pipelines in the local.